Oh boy. Well, I'm glad I got up at 9 o'clock in the morning to watch this football game because my goodness, what a disappointing way to end virtually what was your best game of the season on both sides of the ball, and that is not saying much. Um, this there needs to be a reckoning with the current structure of the Cleveland Browns because the way that things are going, the way that things are being handled is not good enough. And you guys know I have been virtually a Kevin Stefanski defender. Maybe defender's too strong of a word because I am not, saying that Stefanski is the greatest play caller or head coach. But normally I've been on his side. I can't do that anymore. I have seen enough the last 2 seasons to see that the problem is the offense. The problem is the play calling. The problem is that everything looks so stale. It looks so vanilla. It looks so mundane. If you go and watch a Kevin Stefanski Cleveland Browns team from 2020 and you watch them play offense, and then you come and watch this current Browns team play offense, there is no comparison. There is no comparison. All the creativity is gone. All of the schemes to get guys open are gone. There is nothing. There's nothing creative, nothing challenging defenses that makes defenses scared of your offense. Nothing is working. And it's a schematic issue, it's a personnel issue, it's a giant offensive issue. And I'm not going to kill Dillon Gabriel because it's Dillon Gabriel's first NFL start. He's in a different country playing his first NFL game. He looked fine. He looked okay. He looks like a backup because that's what most people in the NFL thought he was. That's why most people thought the Browns reached too high, myself included, thought they reached too high on Dillon Gabriel. And you saw the limitations with Dillon Gabriel. You saw that he can't really see that well out of the pocket. He has to maneuver around. He misses throws high. He doesn't really have a great arm. You saw all the limitations that you have with Dillon Gabriel coming into the season. All those limitations showed themselves in this game. And on top of that, you have an offensive scheme that is so vanilla, so boring, that nobody can succeed in this offense. I genuinely believe that. Nobody can succeed in this offense. Joe Flacco succeeded for 5 games, guys. Outside of that, outside of Baker and like a few glimpses of Jacoby Brissett, who has thrived in Kevin Stefanski's offense? Nobody. It's been 4 years. It's been 4 or 5 years since any quarterback has really thrived a full season in Kevin Stefanski's offense, quote unquote, Kevin Stefanski's offense. Has a who? Gabriel is the guy, but Stefanski needs to go. I'm cautious on the first part, but yeah, I'm off the Stefanski bandwagon. I can't do it anymore. Ohio Sportscast, what's going on, man? DG looks good, but Stefanski needs to go. Yeah, I'm not gonna kill Dillon, like I said. The stats aren't all that great, but it's his first NFL start. Threw 2 touchdowns, had no picks, but he threw a couple of passes that probably should have been picked off. Let's be honest. We're not gonna sugarcoat his performance. Yeah, as a who, I said that Flacco did thrive, but he thrived for like 5 games. It wasn't like a whole season. I'm talking about an entire season. Baker Mayfield, the first half of 2020 didn't really thrive. We were all talking about Baker was more pedestrian. He had like 8 touchdowns in the first 8 games of the season. Then he went on and was absolutely elite in the second half of 2020. 2021, he was hurt. Outside of and like I said, a few glimpses of Jacoby Brissett and 5 games of Joe Flacco, who in the last 4 years or 5 years of Kevin Stefanski being the head coach and the play caller of the Cleveland Browns has been successful as a quarterback. DTR wasn't good. You had Jeff Driscoll for a game in a meaningless game last year or 2 years ago in Cincinnati. Joe Flacco was great in 2023. You brought him back this year. He was absolutely horrible. Like I said, it is a offensive issue. There's an offensive issue. And I think that the problem that the Browns are having is, one, I think that the room has gotten too stale. I think a lot of the stuff that Kevin Stefanski's drawing up is not working anymore. You got guys like Kevin O'Connell who are virtually, I would say, a better version of Kevin Stefanski. I would say Kevin O'Connell is like a more polished and effective Kevin Stefanski. Nothing's working on the offensive end. Genuinely, nothing has worked the last 2 seasons. You're already a quarter of the way through the season this year. You still have yet to score over 20 points. You've only scored, your highest points total has been 17. You are not scoring points. You're having trouble moving the ball down the field with a quarterback because none of your quarterbacks have arms. Joe Flacco has an arm, but he's 41 fucking years old and is just absolutely cooked. He looks like an uncle playing at a family barbecue. That's what I see when I watch Joe Flacco play quarterback. Dylan Gabriel's 5'8" and doesn't have a lively arm. That's why you had to throw it to Isaiah Bond or Jamari Thrash with 3 seconds left in the game so that you can get a 25-yard pass play to make sure that your quarterback could even throw it into the end zone because your quarterback can't throw that far. And, Shedeur Sanders is what he is. He's not ready yet. He doesn't really have that big of an arm either. So, again, it's a culmination of issues, both personnel, schematic, and everything in between. You don't have the personnel to play an effective winning strategy of football on the offensive side of the ball, and your scheme is so unbelievably ass. There's only 2 players on offense, Harold Fannin and Quinshon Judkins, who are miles above anybody else on this offense right now. Joe Bitonio is old. Wyatt Teller hasn't been great. Ethan Posich hasn't been great. They've been okay. KT Levinson is a horrible left tackle. Jack Conklin is made of glass. You're bringing in Cam Robinson. I'm pretty sure KT Levinson and Cam Robinson combined for like 6 penalties for 100 yards in this game today. I mean, there's just so much wrong with what is going on with this offense, and it's just absolutely frustrating because we saw in 2020 that the Browns had an effective way of moving people, moving the quarterback around with motion, all this stuff, and a lot of guys were wide open. None of that's here anymore. It's all gone. It's all gone. And I don't know if it was Alex Van Pelt who was doing it. I don't know if it was Kevin Stefanski, but for some reason, after Alex Van Pelt left in 2023, under circumstances that we have no idea why he left or he was let go, your offense has been horrible since he's left. And Kevin Stefanski has had the play calling duties the entire time, outside of like 10 games last year. So, common denominator, what's the constant? Oh, it's Kevin Stefanski. Like I said, I can't do it anymore. I can't. Ohio Sportscast says, stick to the Cavs because it's preseason in 2 more days. Browns won't win again this year. I'm going to be looking towards the Cavs, but again, they don't. Nothing's going to matter in this regular season for the Cavs until it's April. So, I'll stick to college football because your quarterback's going to be playing this year. And again, Saturday, Oregon and Indiana, Dante Moore versus Fernando Mendoza, and then you have Lenore Sellers facing Garrett Nussmeier. That's going to be a really good game on Saturday, those two. Has a who, and what the fuck is Tommy Reese even doing for this offense? I don't know, man. Like I said, the whole thing before the season started, the whole thing was Tommy Reese is going to bring creativity and this college-like play calling and motion and all this other stuff. We heard this all during training camp because all the Browns beat reporters love to hype the team up in the training camp and all this other stuff. And lo and behold, everything that they say always turns out to be the exact opposite. They always say, oh, the Browns look so great, the offense looks so creative, and then you watch the games in the regular season and it looks so mundane and so bad. And it mix and reverse, all this other stuff. Yeah, I don't know what time, I don't know what, like I said, I don't know what this offense is. It's so bland, it's so vanilla. The only people that are doing anything on your offense that is productive on a consistent basis is Quinshon Judkins and Harold Fannin. Those are the only two guys. Isaiah Bond is not the guy right now. Jerry Jeudy drops everything, and anything that touches his hands is an automatic drop. Jerry Jeudy is a freaking joke. He is horrible. He is not a number one receiver. He is a number two at best. If he is your number one receiver, then you have a horrible receiving room. And we're seeing it right now. Jamari Thrash, Malachi Corley, Gage Larvinahan, none of these guys are NFL starters. Are you kidding me? None of these guys are starters. These guys are like fourth or fifth receivers on any good team. If that. If they even see the field. These guys are like almost special teamers. And yet they're your wide receivers 3 and 4 and 5. It's a joke, and it's an indictment on Andrew Berry there too. Because Cedric Tillman, for all the preseason accolades and all this other stuff that everyone wants to keep throwing at him because he's like 6'3" and looks the part, he doesn't play the part, and he's always hurt. And he's going to be out for another couple of weeks. So what, your number one receiver, Jerry Jeudy, cannot catch the ball. I'm assuming your number two receiver is a rookie Isaiah Bond, who didn't have that many off-season workouts with your team, and has shown glimpses here or there, but is not consistent enough. Like I said, the only two guys on this offense that have been doing anything productive in a consistent basis has been Harold Fannin and Quinshon Judkins. Quinshon Judkins is a fucking stud. I love that dude. I loved him at Ohio State. I loved him at Ole Miss. He is a fucking dog. I love Quinshon Judkins. And he should change his number to 24 because he looks like Nick. He looks like Chubb. But again, you put Jerome Ford out there. Why are we seeing Jerome Ford? What does Jerome Ford give this offense? Please tell me. We'll talk about the second quarter. You're at the 10-yard line. And this is what really the game boiled down to it. If we think about it, you had to go for 3 instead of going for a touchdown when you're at the 10-yard line going towards halftime. You have one timeout with like 35 seconds left. You're at the 10-yard line of the Vikings, threatening to score. The offense is moving the ball down the field at a somewhat good rate. And you run a run play with Jerome Ford that went nowhere. You had no gain. You ran a run play with Jerome Ford with like 23 seconds left. You had to waste your final timeout. After Quinshon Judkins had been decimating, carving through the entire Vikings defense, the entire first half, you went with Jerome Ford, and Quinshon Judkins had to stand next to Kevin Stefanski the entire time, watching Jerome Ford do absolutely fuck all. And then you had to settle for 3 points. That's your difference right there. There's 4 points right there. It's a tie game. We're going over into overtime. We're going to overtime if you score a touchdown, if you actually have decent personnel and decent schematics. But again, multiple times in this broadcast, you guys heard the commentators. Even the commentators were like, I don't like this play call from Kevin Stefanski. You're throwing when you should be running the ball to try and run the clock out. Dylan Gabriel's overthrowing guys left and right. He can't even throw screen passes because he's overthrowing them. Again, it's a mixture of the offense schematically, personnel-wise. Nothing is working, and I think that there needs to be a change because I'm done with Kevin Stefanski. And I know Hazahu, you said you'd be in favor of Jim Schwartz as interim head coach. I don't think they're going to fire Stefanski unless they go like maybe 1-12. If they lose the next 8 games in a row, I mean, yeah, probably. then they may fire him. But if I had a choice, if I could pick anybody in the world right now on who I would want to be the next Browns head coach, and I can't even believe we're even thinking this far ahead. But if I had a choice between who I want, or of who I want to be the next Browns head coach, I would want Dan Lanning from Oregon. I want Dan Lanning from Oregon. I would love to try and see if you can get him away from Oregon, and then maybe you can try and incentivize bringing in Dante Moore, drafting him, have him come out this year because you have Dan Lanning and say, hey, we'll get you here. We're going to sit you. We're going to try and get you, keep your program, your regimen, everything that we were doing at Oregon. We're going to continue it and have you be successful here in Cleveland and in the NFL. That is what I would love to happen. Because if you guys want to see what a real coach looks like and what a real, just a dog, what he would emanate and embrace the dog pound ethos and persona, watch Dan Lanning. Oregon put out a documentary of them preparing and playing Penn State during the whiteout when they won. That guy is a freaking dog. I never played football. I played football from 4th and 6th grade. I was a basketball guy. I played basketball. Basketball is my sport. I watched that documentary. I wanted to put pads on and run through fucking walls and hit some dudes, okay? That's how good Dan Lanning is at getting guys fired up. And you know what they did? They went out there and won. Cleveland sports rock. They need to fire Kevin and get a fresh coach at the end of the year. We have a really good young talent for the future. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And that's been my point. I think that the problem right now that we have, that the Browns have, is that it's too stale. It's too stale. And it looks like what happened in New England. Bill Belichick was coaching there for 30 years. He got his young guys, and eventually the message was stale. You needed a change. Right now, I'm not saying Kevin Stefanski is Bill Belichick, but I'm saying I think the message is going stale right now. The message from front office and coaching staff, this whole unity, this whole demeanor of just stoicism or whatever, it's not working anymore. It's not. This creativity and this Harvard analytical mindset that the Browns have been trying to embrace is not working anymore. It worked for 1 or 2 seasons. It doesn't work right now. It's not working. I would love to see Dan Lanning, if you try and can get him out of Oregon, out of Eugene, and you can try and get Dante Moore to come with him in the draft, you probably say, hey, trying to nudge him, we'll try and draft him. You can have him under your wing like you did in Oregon. I would love for that to happen. Do I think that's going to happen? No. Do I think Kevin Stefanski is probably going to coach next season for the Browns? Yeah, probably, because you know why? We have a doofus as an owner. But again, it's so frustrating. I know you guys are frustrated. I'm frustrated too. Because this team has talent. This team has talent. They have talent. They can do some things. Carson Schlesinger, Mason Graham, Malik Collins, Alex Wright, Isaiah McGuire, Miles, Denzel Ward. I mean, all these guys, there's talent on the defensive side of the ball. Harold Fant and Quinshon Judkins, all the rookies are contributing positively. But your offense, your quarterback, your offensive coordinator, your head coach, none of that's working. Special teams coordinator as well. The only guy who's doing their job is Jim Schwartz. He's the only guy doing his job at a consistently high level. And I know a lot of people are going to be harping on the defense because they gave up the last second touchdown, but I mean, they gave up 21 points. They gave up 21 points. Any competent NFL organization and competent NFL offense should be able to score more than 21 points. The problem is that your team, the Cleveland Browns, can't. And thus, they find new ways to lose when the defense puts up the number one defense level performance. It's so frustrating, man. It's so frustrating. And I don't know if you guys saw, but Ian Rappaport came out yesterday, for all the people that are going to be talking about how Dylan Gabriel was horrible and that Shedeur needs to start, Shedor's going to play. Shedeur will play this year. Ian Rappaport reported yesterday that the Browns are going to play Shedeur Sanders when he's ready. That's probably going to be like December, late November, December football, guys. So I already know there's going to be some people who are going to be like, this is why the Browns should start Shedeur. Dylan Gabriel's horrible. I already saw some people like Chef Zay was like, oh, I'm going to get my wristwatch and stuff like that. He's going to play. He's going to play at some point this season, okay? So you guys are not going to have to worry about it that much longer because Shedeur was going to play this season. Ian Rappaport came out yesterday and said so, okay? So the Browns are going to play him. So we'll get Shedeur Sanders coming up in like another month or two. But if you think that Shedeur Sanders is going to be the savior of the season or is going to be, exponentially better than Joe Flacco or Dylan Gabriel in this offense and this scheme, I don't know what to tell you guys because it's not gonna go as you think if you're Shedeur Sanders fans. So I don't know, but next week Browns are going to Pittsburgh. The division leaders 3-1. You haven't won in Pittsburgh in 35 years. You haven't won in Pittsburgh on the road. That's probably going to continue this season. Dylan Gabriel, I would expect to be a little bit better. I think he was 17 or 23. The Browns threw 37 times again for no reason. I think he was 23 of 37 or 22. I don't know what the stats were, but he was sub 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. I would expect him to probably put up the same level of performance against the Steelers, maybe even a little bit worse. I don't know. But, luckily, after Pittsburgh, you've got the Miami Dolphins who are trending downwards after Tyreek Hill snapped his leg. But then again, I don't know with this team. This team could go out there and hold the Dolphins to 13 points and will still find a way to lose 13-10. So you would think that's a winnable game against the Dolphins. Then you have Drake May and the Patriots. I don't think you're going to win that game against Mike Vrabel and Drake May. But they're having some issues offensively, especially with holding onto the football. They keep fumbling it left and right. So maybe, I don't know. If you can go 1-2 in these next 3 games, that would be great. You would be, 2-6? You'd be 2-6 heading into the bye week. There's only 3 more games left until the bye, guys. So you're going to be, if you go into the bye week 2-6, that's at this point that's best case scenario. Its best case scenario is 2-6 into the bye. I don't see you beating Pittsburgh on the road. I don't see you beating the Patriots. The only winnable game out of these next 3 to me is Miami. And then again, I'm not 100% sure that the Browns can even beat Miami. This is where we're at right now. This is where Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry have put the Browns right now. And it's a shame. It's a shame because it shouldn't be like this. It wasn't supposed to be like this. This is where we're at, guys. This is where we're at. I don't know. Let's see. But before we get further on, I just want to say thank you guys so much for coming out. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you are new. We try to do these post-game reaction shows live every Sunday after the Browns games. Thank you guys so much for coming out. And yeah, does anyone else have anything in the chat that they want to say, want to talk about? I want to kind of try to look more at the stats because, again, the offense, the penalties were atrocious. I think the Browns had 10 penalties for like 72 yards or something like that. I gotta look at the stats here. Oh, thank you, Hazahu. I appreciate you coming out. Yes, Beast Girls, Cavaliers are right around the corner. That's our saving grace right now. We get to see Evan Mobley and all those other guys trying. Hopefully, it's finals or bust, but I hope it ends in the Larry O'Brien being lifted up in Rocket Arena. I would love that. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to look at the stats here. Okay, so we got the stats pull up. Browns get outgained in total yards. Vikings have 349 yards. Browns have 322. You have 10 penalties on the Browns, 7 on the Vikings. So you do that. Yeah, I mean, 182 yards for passing for Dylan Gabriel. Rushing, you absolutely trounced them. Rushing wise, 97 on the ground for the Vikings, 140 for the Browns. And you led in time of possession too. And again, it shows you the stats don't lie. Rushing first downs, 8 compared to 4 for the Browns. Passing first downs, 14 for the Vikings, 9 for the Browns. And then you gave up 2 penalty first downs. So it's just, again, stats don't lie. Passing wise, you're not good. Your rushing attack is your only way to win. Your rushing attack is your only way to win. Let's see. Dylan Gabriel finished the day 19 to 33, 190 yards, 2 touchdowns with 5.8 yards per attempt. I mean, not great. Not great yards per attempt. They can't throw downfield. No matter who's at quarterback, nobody can throw downfield. Quinshawn, 23 attempts, 110 yards, 4.8 yards per carry. Jerome Ford, 5 carries. I mean, I don't. Where's Dylan Sampson gone? That's what I would like to know. Why is Dylan Sampson not getting any touches? We had 1 carry for negative 4 yards. Why are we not getting Dylan Sampson the ball? I mean, I know he cannot pass protect because he's so small, but like, why are we not getting Dylan Sampson involved in the passing game with throwing out in the flat? Why are we not getting him involved in the running game? He had a great game against Cincinnati. Outside of that, they have not used him at all. I don't get it. Yeah, Beast Girl says Cavaliers and the Buckeyes. Yeah, Buckeyes absolutely dominated Minnesota yesterday. Their defense is scary, man. Their defense is scary. I honestly do not see, outside of maybe Oregon. I'd say Oregon and Miami and Ohio State. Those are the three teams I see as actual true national championship contenders this season. Those are the only teams. As a who says, honestly, it just felt so good to see one good drive resulting in a touchdown in Njoku. Yeah, I mean, it's great to see Njoku actually get involved. I'm glad to see a Chiefs slam in the end zone. It's been a minute since he's actually been able to do that, but I'm glad that we were able to see that. Beast Girls DG was throwing the ball to whoever he could pass. Yeah, well, I mean, he's supposed to. But again, everything is short, dink and dunk. You have a quarterback who's doesn't have a great arm, and you saw all the limitations coming into the season that people had on Dylan Gabriel. You saw all those limitations today. You saw every single one. He doesn't have a big arm. He's very small, and you're going to have a hard time trying to maneuver him to make him, get some throwing lanes. B-Scrolls, this offense is so boring. Yes, it is. Like I said, I think the message has gone stale in that locker room. I think that there has to be a change. And if I could make a change and if I could pick a coach, I want Dan Lanning from Oregon. And I would try and get him to say, hey, talk to Dante if he wants to come out and make sure that we can draft him, and he can go under your wing, and you can continue your same plan that you guys were doing in Oregon. That is what I would do right now, because I don't think the Stefanski method is not working anymore. The analytical basin, whatever you want to call it, the analytical project is not working anymore. And I would be calling for Andrew Berry's job too, but this draft class may have saved his job. It may have saved his ass. We'll be honest. I mean, every single rookie that he has had, even the undrafted ones, even Aiden Huntington, have contributed in a great way. I mean, that saved his job right there. The only ones that he so far has missed out on have been the quarterbacks. And again, we saw the thing coming into the season was that Kevin Stefanski and Barry were very high on Dylan Gabriel. And they say that Shedeur Sanders was a Andrew Berry pick. So, I mean, we'll see the next couple of weeks how Dylan Gabriel is going to fare. I think that after the Patriots game in 3 weeks, right before the bye, we'll have a good 4-game sample size of how Dylan Gabriel is. I think that's a good enough sample size. And, I think we could see whether going forward, Dylan Gabriel can be a backup for you. I think this is the audition that Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders are going to be doing, guys. These guys are not going to be starters for you. They are going to be auditioning to see who can be the backup going forward for the quarterback that you draft next season. That's what's going to be the case. That's what's going to happen. And, we'll see who comes out this year, because a lot of these guys who are the top quarterback prospects are sophomores or juniors, and they could easily just go back for another year at college, and 2027 could be absolutely loaded in terms of quarterbacks. What's up, Ohio Sportscast? Judkins is a stud. Hopefully he's Nick Chubb 2.0. I mean, he looks the part. He looks like him. You just need to find a second running back to complement him, because for some reason they are still in love with Jerome Ford, even though Jerome Ford does nothing good. And for some reason they've just fallen out of love with Dylan Sampson. I don't know if he's just not doing something in practice correctly, or whatever's going on with him whatever's going on with him. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I've said it multiple times in this thing, and we'll get out of here in a couple seconds. I want to thank you guys so much for coming out here. Once again, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new. We do these live post-game reaction shows every single week on Sundays right after the Browns game. Make sure you guys are staying tuned for those. So make sure you guys hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so you guys are notified when I go live every Sunday after the Browns games. But yeah, I mean, Judkins is great. I just think the offense is stale, man. And I think there needs to be a change. I think I would hope there's a change after this season. I would be shocked if the Browns fire Stefanski in the middle of the season. I would be shocked if that happens. But if they go 1-11 or 1-12, I mean, who's to say? I would be shocked. I would be shocked if it doesn't happen. But it's very much a possibility that the Browns go 1-12. It's a very, 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 very probable possibility the Browns could go 1-12, and then they fire Stefanski. Although we did see Hugh Jackson go 1-31 and not get fired, so I don't know. But I like I said, my fear is that everything has just become so stale, and that the message is not working anymore. And I said this multiple times. You go back and watch the Browns offense in 2020, and we'll look at the creativity that Kevin Stefanski and Alex Van Pelt drew up, and you compare it to what they're doing now or what they did last year, it is not even close. It's not close to what they did 5 years ago. It's not. But I don't know. But anyways, I'm probably gonna get off here. I don't know what else to say. Honestly, I don't know what else to say. I'll just say thank you guys so much for coming out here. Make sure you guys hit the like button. Subscribe if you're new. And we'll see you guys all next Sunday, hopefully after a Browns win. But let's face it, probably not. Probably not.